What's up guys, welcome back, and in this video I'd like to show you how you can get authentication working in GraphQL with Vue Apollo. So if you haven't checked out the last video, we set up the server to work with Laravel Passport and Lighthouse, and now I'd like to see if we can get to use Vue on the front end to do authentication. So we'll build a very basic auth system where we can log in, and upon logging in I want to show that logged in user's details. So here's a very basic login form, and I'm going to log in with an email here, and I'm going to put in the wrong password. Then we'll get just an alert here, and then if I put in the right password, it will redirect to a protected view with that logged in user's details, and we can also log out here. Cool. So yeah, let's build this from scratch using Vue Apollo. Okay, so I have a Vue CLI 3 application scaffolded out here, and the only thing I've done is Vue add Apollo to install Apollo. So yeah, like in the last video, if you saw, we can log in using this mutation and we get a token back. And then with this token, we can call this me query and get the user's details back. But we have to pass in this token through the header. So the question is, how do we pass it into the header? So in traditional REST, if you're using Axios, you can set headers on Axios. So let me just open up some code here, which is from my to-do series. And let me just look for Axios here, right here. So you can see I'm just setting the headers here, and I'm setting the authorization token, authorization header to bearer plus the token which is stored in Vuex. So in Vue Apollo, let me just show you something here. So there's a config file called Vue Apollo here in source. And you can see an auth token right here. Right here. So let's search this auth token. It's called token name actually. So, okay, I don't know why I did that, but what I'm trying to say is if this token is set in your local storage, then it's going to pass that with any GraphQL query or mutation that you do. And there's actually helpers here that you can call after you log in, which sets the local storage item here. So as you can see, it sets the local storage, I think it's called Apollo token. That's what I was trying to show you earlier. It's called, the key in local storage is called Apollo token, and you have to call these methods to create it. So onLogin to create it and onLogout to destroy it. So let me prove that to you. So to do that, let me just put a query, a GraphQL query in the hello world component. So I'm just going to use this hello world component, and I'm just going to make some data here. Okay, let's return. And I'm going to do that me query and set it to null initially. And then I'm going to make an Apollo key here. And me is going to be that GraphQL query. So I have to import this actually. Import GQL from GraphQL tag. Okay, so now I can just do the query here with backticks. I'm just going to do query, and it's going to do this basically. Where is it? This. So me name email. Me name email, and let's throw the ID in there too. So right now the local storage item is not set, so this should result in an error. Let's see what we get here. So let me open up Vue, or console I mean. Okay, so yeah, we do get an error, failed to fetch. Cool. So yeah, just ignore the WebSocket error. So let's go ahead and log in. So I'm going to log in using this mutation just to get a valid token. Okay, so there's that token. And I'm going to manually set the Apollo token just in the console here. So local storage dot set, and the key is called Apollo token, like in the config. And I'm gonna just paste in the token here. Sorry, it's set item. Okay, so now if I look in my application, let me just make this bigger. Local storage, and for this domain, there it is right there, Apollo token and that key. So now this should work. So if I refresh this, you still get failed to fetch. Let's see if it's in here. Hello world. It's undefined. Oh yes, sorry. I forgot to set the endpoint in the config. So yeah, I should have done that before. So go to Vue Apollo. I'm actually going to set the WebSockets to null to remove that annoying error. So set this to null. Okay. And let's set the endpoint here, right here. So what was the endpoint again? It was this. Set that. Okay. And now this should work. Okay, let me remove the key first, just to show you that it shouldn't work when it's not there, and then we'll re-add it. So let me just delete token, okay, and this should not work. Okay, internal server error, that's correct. And let me re-add this. And now this should work. Okay, let's check view, let's check hello world, check our data, and there I am, me, or not me, but the logged in user. So that should show you if the token is set, then it will send it for any GraphQL requests. Okay, so with that knowledge, let's get basic logging in working like I showed at the beginning of this video. So I'm not going to do any state management, and I'm not going to do Vuex to manage state here, but you definitely need to do that for any bigger application. I just want to mention that there's also an alternate way to handle state in GraphQL using something called Apollo link state. The idea is to use a GraphQL cache to manage state and bypass Vuex entirely. I'm still in the process of learning it, so if I do, I will make a separate video for that. Okay, so let me quickly make 2 new routes and 2 new pages. So in pages, in views, I'm going to make a login view. Let's just say template. Login goes here. And let's make a login route. So I'm just going to copy this. And it's going to be login. And this is going to be login. Okay. And I think in app, that's where the router link goes. So I'll make a new one. Say login. Login. Okay, does this work? Put a pipe here. And okay. And let me just paste in some code for the login just to save some time. So I'm just going to paste this in. And there's already some Vue code in here, which I'll go over. This is the method that's called when we submit the form. And there's a V model on the username and the password. So let's set up the script. So we need a username and a password. Username empty, password empty, and we need a methods section. So methods, and one called login. Okay. And I'm also going to paste in just a bit of CSS so it's not super ugly. Okay, let's see how this looks. Okay, that's decent. And I'm going to make one more route here for the protected area where the logged in user's information gets displayed. So let's say protected template protected. Actually, let's make it an H2. Users info. And let's go into the router, add that as well. So I'm not going to make use of guards here, but you definitely should. What I mean by that is I can just manually go to this route and it will show up. It won't show the logged in users details if you're not logged in, but you can still show the route, and you should use guards to prevent the user from doing that. So yeah, check out my video and my video on just doing it in REST, and it's the same thing. It's protected. Okay. So I'm not going to put it in the menu because I don't want that to show, but you can just go here. So yeah, that's what I mean. If you had guards in place, you wouldn't be able to go here if you're not logged in. Okay. And we'll put the login route in a second after I finish logging in. And I'm not going to do any validation here, as I'm just giving you a very basic example. Okay, so here we want to perform the login mutation here. And if it's successful, we want to call that onLogin Helper, which sets the token in our local storage. Let me actually remove this because it's already here. So I'm going to delete that. Okay. So if we go into here, we can see how to do mutations. And I'm just going to copy this. And let me just grab everything. This is the entire methods key. And I'm going into login. Okay, so this is all of methods. Okay, let me just indent this and change it to login. And I don't want any of this. Okay. I also need this GQL. So import GQL from GraphQL tag. Okay. Don't need any of this. Okay. So the mutation we need is this one. So let me just grab this actually and paste it in. And we can indent this. And let's make some changes here. So I am going to accept some data. And it is of type login input. It's required. And this I'm going to cut out. And the data goes here. And I want to return the access token, and the variables is where I'm going to paste what I just cut. And this should come from our state, which is bound to V model. So it should update as the user updates. And that should work. So let's see if this works. So let's just see if we get the token in our console. So that looked like it worked. Did it work? Don't need this. Okay, so that worked. Let's test this out here. Refresh. So I'm going to use the same user here. So let's try an error case first. I'm going to type in gibberish. Okay, so it's an error. Is that the right error? We'll see. Let's type in the right password. Okay, so I'm missing something here. So yeah, I am missing another. Yeah, so this should be another key. So data is this. Like this. Okay. Let's give that another try. So wrong password. Okay, now we're getting the correct user error. User credentials were incorrect. And correct password, we should get some data here. There we go. This should include the token. Where is it? There it is right there. So now we just have to set or call the helper, the OnLogin Helper I've been talking about in here in Vue Apollo. OnLogin right here. So let's go ahead and do that. So back to here, we have to import it. Let's import it. Import OnLogin from up1 Vue Apollo. Okay. And now we can just use that or just call it when it's successful. So let me just call it right here. So OnLogin. And what parameters does it need? It needs the Apollo client and the token. So the client is just this Apollo provider default client. And the token is data.login.access token, if you remember here. So data login access token. Or you can destructure it if you like. I'll just leave it. And I also want it to go to that protected route. So this router push protected. And let's try this again. And now the local storage key should be set. So let's refresh. Okay, secret. And then let's check the application. So it's not in here. It should be in here. There we go. It set it right there. And we'll work on showing the user's info in here in a second. I just want to work on logout so we can destroy this token. Okay, so back to our code. Let's go to app view and we can make a new link here. It's not a router link. It's just going to be a normal link because there's no view associated with it. So I'm going to do click.prevent and we'll call a logout function. And say logout. Let's make a pipe here too. And down here, script. And let's make a new method. Logout. And we're just gonna do the same thing we did in here. I'm gonna import onLogout instead of onLogin. It's right there, onLogout. And we are going to just call it onLogout. And the only parameter it takes is the Apollo provider. Apollo provider default client. And I want to push to the homepage. And all this is going to do, like I said, is just destroy that token in our local storage. So let's give that a try. Oh, sorry, this is in the same directory. Okay, so I am logged in right now, but if I hit log out, this should be deleted and it should redirect. Awesome. Okay, now let's work on that protected page. So yeah, all we have to do is just call that me query, and since the token is set, that should work out. So we already did that in hello world, so let's just copy that. So I'm just going to copy all of this. And then I'm going to comment it out here because we're not using it. And protected. Let's just do it in here. Okay. And let's just import this. Okay. Let's see if this works. And let me just output it here. Let's do me.id, name, email. And we only want to output that if it's set. So I'll just do vif me. And we're going to need a root div here. Okay, let's see if this works. So let's log in. And okay, I don't have it in there anymore. Where's my email? There it is. That's not it. Okay, secret. So there we go. You can see it got set in here and we are redirected to the correct page with this user's information. So there you have it, guys. We managed to build out the authentication on the front end using the token we got from the server and using Vue Apollo and its helpers. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Okay, thanks. Bye.